Hello, my name is Renata. Welcome to my channel, and if you're watching this video, welcome. Thank you for witnessing me. This is a pretty vulnerable video. There's definitely going to be some emotion flowing because there just has been for me today. Um, but I wanted to share. I wanted to share for myself, and I wanted to share for literally anyone that witnesses this that is going through something similar or is, yeah, just can relate and maybe, take something from my experience and apply it to your own experience in a helpful way. Um, because yeah, I'm really tired of feeling like fear and shame and guilt have a hold over my life and how I relate to myself and how I relate to other people, how I relate to the world, and how I relate to God. God, source, spirit. I'm spiritual, but not religious. So this morning, let's see if I can tell this story coherently, okay? We're gonna try. By God's grace, I am currently staying with an elderly gentleman. He's 82 or 83, and he asked me to stay with him. I was house sitting at a condo, a neighboring condo, and while I was house sitting, we became acquainted. And he was just like, I have this whole space that you can stay in, and it would be nice to have someone nearby in case something happens. And so we've just kind of have this symbiotic arrangement going on. And he's, like I said, he's 80, 82, I think, 83. And he was just he was trying to get me to go out over the weekend, and he's like, there's this festival, like you should go out, you're young, you should go do stuff. And I'm like, I'm trying to save money. And so there's like it brought up the topic of money, and so he's asking me like, so this morning, I don't know what prompted it, but he was basically like asking me like what my financial situation was, and not in like an invasive way, but just like I think getting to know me. And anyways, it just he asked me how much debt, like credit card debt I was in, and I said $20,000. And that's a lie. And I'm like $40,000 in debt. And I was just so embarrassed to say that. Like so embarrassed. And first, and also like lying is like I hate lying. I seldom like I don't like to lie. It just gets me in trouble. There's no point. Like I am who I am. But like the amount of shame and embarrassment that I hold around the amount of debt that I'm in is like is so suffocating. And first of all, it's none of his business. So it's like it's not like I owe him, like it's not like he's my partner or something. That would be a very different kind of lying about that. Like he has no business to know what my financial business is. But regardless, I went against my values in lying about it. And like that's just not really okay with me. It doesn't sit well with me. And I just I sat with it. Not with the lying so much because it's like I understand that the shame and the embarrassment is the reason that I did it. And that's really the root of the emotion that I really needed to sit with. And so I did. And it was really ugly. And it was really like, I just, I felt so much. And I was writing, like, I just feel useless. I feel like a disappointment. I feel like just yeah, like what am I doing? Like why can I not figure this piece out? And the thing about mental health and the thing about financial health is that when you feel shame, when you feel embarrassment, you don't want to talk about it because then you have to voice it and it makes it real and it make it like you have to say like, yes, I'm suffering. Yes, I'm failing. And like that's just so hard to do. And so that's why I wanted to do this video because I think it's so important. Because shame and guilt are like, they're so detrimental to our health and our well-being. And they're so, like, it feels real. It feels, it, I feel that. And it's so easy to avoid and to keep suppressing it and to keep it down and to not talk about it and to not share about it. But then it just like eats you alive. And I'm tired of holding that. And it's uncomfortable to sit with. We also don't want to sit with something that's really uncomfortable, right? We don't want to sit with the thought I'm a failure or I'm a disappointment to myself and I'm a disappointment to people that could really benefit from my services because I don't know how to talk about my services or I'm a disappointment to society and like whatever. Like sitting with those thoughts are uncomfortable and sitting with the emotions that really are behind those thoughts is really uncomfortable and like exhausting. It's so exhausting to sit with those emotions and it was just like wave after wave of like sobbing and releasing and I'm in this training class for learning how to channel and she gave us the pose of the sleeping tiger and so I was like doing the sleeping tiger and I just was like feeling all of this emotion in my body so that I could release it. And it's a lot of work. It's exhausting. I still have a headache. It's like almost 5 o'clock in the evening, and this all happened at like 8 this morning. And I just, a couple of things. One, yes, I'm here and I'm talking about it as like in the loudest way possible, which is putting it on the internet, right? Where anyone has access to it. Because I don't want my shame around my debt is I don't want it to be a shadow. I don't want it to be something that I run from or avoid or deny or suppress or repress. I want it to be here so I can look at it so that I can deal with it and not in a disciplinarian way, but in a really loving way. And for me, I think the most loving thing that I could do this morning was just let myself feel it. Let myself feel all of those emotions so that so that I could let them go. And they're still there because, nothing in my circumstances changed. But that's the other thing, is that our circumstances are just projections of our attractor field, of our vibrational field. And emotions like shame and guilt and embarrassment and self-loathing and self-pity are really at the bottom of the scale. If you are unfamiliar with David R. Hawkins' work, he has, I don't know, like 10 or 15 books, maybe more, around consciousness. And he has something called the Map of Consciousness and a book called the Map of Consciousness, but I believe the Map of Consciousness is in all of his books. And shame and fear and guilt. Shame is like at the very bottom. The very bottom. He's very clear that the map of consciousness is not linear, so I think that that's important. But I invite you to go check it out. Apparently, I'm not supposed to talk about it because it's very heavily copyrighted, and that part is very confusing to me. But regardless, very, very good, beautiful work that he did. Um, why did I get off on that tangent? I'm reading Letting Go, um, which is one of his books. And in it, he's talking about like the emotional or the energetic charge of emotions that are repressed and how they he literally is talking about the law of manifestation and the attractor fields and how our pent-up emotions and our beliefs create the experience of life that we're having. And I'm in this place right now. I am self-employed. I have my own business and I have a really a consistent net revenue right now of about $75 a month. So it's a hot mess, okay? Like it's a hot mess. But like I needed to be here. I needed to be in this place where I could come to the very bottom of my consciousness, where this shame is buried, and where this guilt is buried, and where this fear is buried, and where these places that I don't want to look, I have to look at because there's no other way that I am going to purely and effectively and properly live the life that I want to and be the version of myself that I want to be the level of consciousness, be the love that I want to be in service in the way that I want to be in my unique craft, in my unique medicine that is only mine. And it's everyone's, but it's can only be expressed through me, through my experience. And I want that so badly. But for whatever reason, I haven't been able to figure it out. But a couple of months ago, I walked away from a W-2 job doing strictly mental health coaching because we weren't talking about the spiritual side of it because it was strictly evidence-based, and that's amazing, and I love that work. But the great mystery of life is not evidence-based. Or, I mean, kind of it is if you're, but not by human scientific study. Hold on. If you look at the fact that over human history, billions of people believe that there's some higher power more than, above man and the law of man, then there's plenty of evidence. Anyways, so I left a W-2 job and I said, I'm gonna go out on my own and I'm just gonna do my own practice and I'm gonna figure it the fuck out. And it's been so interesting and terrifying and beautiful and like so, so magical. But I haven't figured out how to get business flowing into my, I haven't figured out how to talk to the people that would benefit from my medicine and my gifts and my talents and my work. I haven't figured out how to, you know, target them and speak to their problems and speak to their pain points. And I haven't figured out a way to tangibly speak to the benefits of sitting with yourself and sitting with your soul and sitting with someone who can help get to that place when you don't know how to get to it yourself. I don't know how to articulate inner peace and inner alignment. And I don't know how to articulate that nothing is static and that everything changes and that there are days like today where it just feels shitty, where it just feels like the whole first half of my day was overtaken by feelings of shame and embarrassment and disappointment and guilt. Like guilt that I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing or what I came here to do, or at least not successfully. So I can't sell perfection. I can't sell, oh, it's gonna be fucking perfect forever and you're gonna always be happy. I can't sell that. And so I don't know how to articulate what my work is. It's so ephemeral. It's just whatever is needed in that moment is what happens and what comes through. There is no magic bullet that solves everything because there is no, life is dynamic, it's always flowing. So cultivating inner peace is like, even on days like today, when it's just a shitty fucking, it's just a hard day. You're not supposed to fix it. There's not supposed to be something to do about it every time. Sometimes it's just about embracing our fucking humanity. Yesterday I was channeling, I'm gonna get it wrong, and I'm sorry. Konohana Sakuria Haimi, and she was sharing this message that is so it's so beautiful now because she was giving me kind of this image of the tree of life. And I was seeing it as like a within a circle. So if you've seen like those necklaces that are kind of like the tree of life, where the branches and the leaves are up top, but then it like circles down and the roots are down below. And she was just showing me how that's one, the tree is one, and that part of the tree is above the surface in the light and is blooming and is beautiful, but then the other half of the tree is underground, under the surface, in the dark, and maybe not what we would call beautiful. It's dirty and dark and probably cold and damp and whatever else. Like, but she was showing me how, wow, this is just, I'm sorry, there's like, it's so beautiful now that I think about the message and the timing of it, because this is literally yesterday. But how, when you can appreciate the darkness, how it actually creates greater beauty, that without the darkness, like there can be no beauty. And so today and this morning, wow, I'm starting to feel really excited, but like my head hurts so bad from everything that's occurred today. Today, I felt fear and shame and guilt and embarrassment and disappointment. And there's a point where I would have wanted to run from those feelings and not feel them and not talk about them. And in that, they they would keep me stuck. They would stay like a sticky spot in my vibrational field, in my auric field. And today I just I acknowledged it and I allowed myself to feel it. And then I tried appreciating it. And I didn't get as far or as deep an appreciation as I can for a day at the beach or chocolate ice cream or something that I actually really enjoy. But I just tried imagining, how can I nurture these emotions and these feelings and this energy? And how can I nurture myself? And how can I appreciate these feelings that are surfacing here? And how can I appreciate that by virtue of feeling these, when they pass, and they will, because they always do, how much sweeter is that going to make my next experience of peace and of joy and happiness? And in appreciating the feelings, instead of resisting them, they don't feel as scary and they don't feel like they have as much of a hold over me. And they don't feel like some big, heavy weight that I have to like keep shoving behind in my closet, guarded from the world and from myself, but that they can be here too. The other the other song that kept popping in my head today was the K-pop Demon Hunters song, Darkness and Harmony, because in that song they're talking about Like there's a line that's like, so we were liars, so we were like made mistakes or something. Sorry, I'm gonna butcher it, like, or it is butchered. But it's like, so what? So what? How many millions and billions of people are in debt? How many millions of people feel crippled by the shame of that? This shouldn't have to feel crippled by the shame of that. Our financial system, our global financial system, is not at all set up to help the majority of people succeed. If you're not already coming from a family line where that has been pre-established. It's not about blame. I'm not trying to like blame systems, but I'm just saying that like we're not alone. We're not alone in this experience. I'm not alone in this experience of feeling shame and guilt and fear around debt and around money in general. But right now, and for the past couple of months, I've just started softening and chipping away at the weights that I'm carrying in my own psyche, in my own vibrational field, in the way that I relate to myself and my circumstances in my life. Because my circumstances, while they are projections of some aspects of me, they are not the only thing that defines me. They're like I'm so multidimensional. There are so many other aspects to me. It's not like, for some reason it's like I associate, and I don't know that I've put words to this until just now, but like I associate in some way like I'm a bad person because I'm in debt. Like there's something wrong with me. There's something bad about me because I am financially irresponsible. So that must mean that I'm irresponsible. That must mean that I'm a fuck up. That must mean that I'm lazy and I make bad choices. But those are just stories. I think a lot of them are collective cultural stories. It's also very black and white and judgmental. Mm. And it's not looking at the many layers and reasons why debt accumulates. And it does for infinite reasons. Mine started with a divorce and almost $10,000 in vet bills trying to figure out why my dog wasn't eating. And then a week of tests and procedures reveals that she had lung cancer and then died. I've never spent almost $10,000 in a week in my life. It went on a credit card and it was during COVID. So there's the stories that the shame tells are not the full story and they're not a reflection of who I am. And even being in debt is not a reflection of who I am. But the ego and the collective conditioning and the way that we collectively relate to money and to debt and our collective consciousness and to lack and lack consciousness is just, it's so prevalent. And it's also a catalyst to our growth and to our awakening. It's an opportunity to practice greater freedom, to practice greater appreciation, to practice greater faith and trust. And that's what I'm doing. Like, not this morning. This morning I was in it. Like, I was in it and I was just feeling the feels and I was letting those stories play so that I could feel the feels because it was brought up. And so I allowed it to be without doing anything or without trying to change it. And I did my practices after the fact, and the truth underneath for me is that I will always be guided and cared for and provided for, even if it doesn't really look that way. But I know that if I stay in a fear and a shame and a doubt pattern, it will be that because I've learned that lesson over and over and over again. That what I fear becomes made manifest. It happens. It actualizes. And I'm tired of choosing fear over faith. There's a quote out there somewhere that says, fear and faith ask the same thing of you. Something like both are trusting in the unknown. One is basically just optimistic and one is basically just pessimistic. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do with this debt. I don't know if there's going to be a sudden turn where I start building positive momentum in my work and in my business, and it's going to work out. I don't know if that doesn't happen and I'm going to need to file bankruptcy or like do something else. Um, and go find a local job that hopefully isn't soul sucking. I don't know what it looks like, but I I feel safe in surrendering the outcome to spirit. And I feel blessed to have this awareness because I've been in a similar situation before and the fear completely overtook me. And eventually that led to something really amazing. It led to me being a mental health coach, and that was a really beautiful experience. Things have worked out. It doesn't look exactly like how I want it to, but things have worked out. Even this place that I'm in right now, it just fell in my lap. And it's an amazing place. And the gentleman that I'm with is, he's a hoot. He's very entertaining and he's very kind. So I'm just tired of choosing fear. I'm tired of feeling like I have to feel shame for not having everything figured out. I'm tired of feeling like I have to have everything figured out before I can be of service to someone else. Because that's not true either. Because I have helped so many people, and so many people have, I know that because they tell me that. Because they tell me that that the work that we do is more impactful than so many other things that they've done put together. I know that my financial situation is not the whole of my character and who I am. I'm tired of feeling embarrassed about it. I'm tired of feeling shame about it. I don't want to feel that way about myself anymore. So I've made some mistakes. So maybe there were other choices or other roads that I could have or should have taken, but didn't. So what? I'm a human being. And being a human is hard. Even when you have it easy, being a human is hard. We still have human experiences of loving and losing and witnessing horrors every day. So I wanted to share this because I do value honesty and transparency, and I feel ridiculous that I couldn't just say to Bill this morning that yes, I have $40,000 in debt. I don't want to be that person. I don't want to lie because I'm embarrassed about who I am or what my circumstances is. I don't want to be embarrassed about my circumstances, and I don't want my circumstances to be a reflection of who I am because they're not. And they're not for you either. If you're in a similar situation, I hope you can breathe in this moment. Sometimes I just like to look at the sky, and just remember for a second that there is something eternal flowing through us. And that no matter how heavy your circumstances feel, and no matter how mean and bully-ish that voice inside of your head that tells you that you should feel like shit about yourself is, it's lies. It's lies and it's bullshit. And we can appreciate it for what it is. And we can be open and honest and allow it to be there. And in that, we take back our freedom, our internal freedom, because we refuse to succumb to the fear and to the shame. And that in allowing and appreciating, we can understand the parts of ourselves that need to be nurtured more deeply, that need more love, that need more care and attention. We can nurture our faith. We can practice saying, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to myself for the choices that were made that got me here. And I can forgive myself for those choices. And I can say thank you for being willing to being honest and truthful and brave and facing the ugly messiness of shame and fear and guilt and disappointment. And I can love myself because I'm a human and it's messy and it's difficult much of the time. And it's beautiful. The sun is setting and the sun just like shines on the treetops. It's beautiful. There's so much beauty all around.
Okay, have a good time.
Bill's going to play cards tonight. Your thoughts and your feelings and your emotions are fleeting. They are transient. They come and they go. And if you make some space to sit with them and to be with them to ask yourself what's really present for me right now, and allow yourself to feel that in your body. You're actually releasing it because you're allowing it and you're no longer resisting it. You're taking the emotional charge out of it. You're taking your power back. You're taking pent up, blocked energy and you're releasing it. And that allows you to have a greater capacity to choose what you want to focus on, to choose what's right for you to do next, not from a place of fear, not from a place of panic, but from a grounded place of acceptance and truth. And sometimes that truth hurts. It does. I can't sugarcoat that for you. I can't sugarcoat it for myself. But I know for myself, this is how I free myself. So, thank you for watching. Thank you for sharing this space with me. If you're feeling any of those emotions, you're not alone. I don't share your exact emotions or your exact experience, but in my own way, I know what they feel like, but I know the human spirit. I know the human heart. I know that we share it. And I know that we're stronger together, sharing our stories, letting our shadows out of the closet, letting them just be. It's okay. It's okay to have these feelings. It's okay to feel them. When you do, you recall a piece of yourself. You become a little bit lighter. You start to feel a little bit more like yourself again, and a little bit less like a zombie. For me, also, it's very humbling. It's an exercise in humility. Oh, brother. Realizing, yeah, oh, I'm still figuring it out. I think we're all still figuring it out. And I want to be real about that because being real and being truthful and being honest just feels like, just feels like how I want to be and who I want to be. I want to trust my life. I want to trust myself. I want to trust my human family. I want to trust spirit. And that if I'm being honest with myself and I'm being open and I'm being real, the goodwill and love will flow to me. And that if I stay true to myself, then I will flow that goodwill back out. Because that's like this beautiful part of the design is that we give and we receive as one. Because when I benefit, the collective benefits. And when the collective benefits, I benefit. When someone else benefits, I benefit because we're all one. We share this human consciousness. We share this planet. In my opinion, we share our source. And so, as I offer appreciation for my shadows and appreciation for my shame, my embarrassment, my hardship, my demons, if I can love them and I can love myself, hopefully this gives you permission slip to do the same for you. Maybe transmuting our inner bully, our inner critic, into our inner advisor, into energy and fuel for faith and strength and love, and finding the beauty even in the mess. It's always there. All right. Thank you again. Heart hugs to you. Bye. Yee. Choo, 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 choo.